Live from the mighty Veedverks Airship, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Verks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks. And today we have two very special guests with us, Christie Lunsford and Mila Jansen, who is, did I bring the book? Among other things, well, she wrote a book about all of her exploits. She's a cannabis pioneer from Amsterdam, from back to the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're going to learn a lot of very interesting things. And also, I'm here with Julie Richardson, Veedverks. Sorry about that. It's always awkward. We need a practice, like running gag. Can I do one quick brag?
Absolutely.
I did it earlier, but I got a drug tax stamp from the state of Kansas. They still sell them, and that was like a very interesting experience. But I don't know. This is what I think Veedverks 2019 kind of looks like, is Kansas tax stamp. Anyway, isn't that cool?
That is cool. I'm curious how many states have that.
Some, I know there are a few still.
I want to so take that and run with it.
Yeah, me
like
too.
Challenge people. Show us your tax stamps. Go to your state capital.
Right.
And just let's start collecting those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little passport.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
When's MJ BizCon?
MJ BizCon.
Or not? I'm sorry, not
No,
MJ.
I can tell you when MJ BizCon is too. It's fine. It's going to be in June. In the other city of sin, New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah. And then so the Hemp Biz Conference will be May 1st and 2nd. And that'll be here in Denver, Colorado.
May 1st and 2nd, here in Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really
We're definitely
excited.
interested in that.
Would love to have you. Yeah.
It's going to be a really good conference. Mila, so tell us, can you guys hear us okay, by the way? I should, I always,
so.
There, then I can take those off.
Okay.
So
Where do you want me to
tell
start?
us. Well, I could go chapter by chapter through the book, but so in the 1960s is when you got involved with cannabis for the first time.
Well, I started smoking in 1964. And at that time in Amsterdam, you could only buy hashish. There was no weed available. Mm-hmm. And so I started smoking hash, and typical European style, with a little bit of tobacco. And 54 years later, I still smoke the same way, and I only smoke hash.
Huh. That's interesting. I guess I know some people who mostly use concentrates, but that's.
The thing was also, like I say, in Amsterdam there was no weed available. And then a few years later, I hitchhiked to India. And in all the countries in between, Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and in India, people only smoke hash. Nobody smokes weed. And so all the time I was in India, and I lived there for 14 years, I was happy smoking my hash, especially because it used to come from Afghanistan, which had the best in those days. Mm-hmm. And
how did they make that hash? Sorry to interrupt, but was that, I always heard stories growing up of kids in Afghanistan. Oh, that was poppies, running through poppy fields wearing flannel shirts.
Yeah, no. They have stories about naked girls running in between the marijuana, but I doubt it's for real, because it would be extremely painful to remove the resin from a girl's skin.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so I doubt that really ever happened, but it's some myth.
Yeah.
So the traditional way of making hash in...
they sift it through silk in those days, and then they store it actually as only the trichromes. And they have big clay jars sealed with beeswax, and only when they're ready to smoke it will they take some out. And they will have a piece of, nowadays, heavy-duty plastic, and put in about the amount of a tennis ball or a bit less, and they'll hit it with a mallet. And in those days, the big story was, do you use a rubber mallet or a wooden mallet? Anyway, it's an interesting way to make the hash because all the trichomes break open and the oils come free. So it's very different than people who press it, because then you're just pressing the trichomes together and nothing happens really. But this way the oils come free. In fact, you have this bowl tied up and you hold it like that and then you hit it with a mallet and you're continuously turning it around. And within 10 minutes that bowl will be so hot and it'll be liquid. And you have to let it cool off and repeat it. But that's the traditional way to make the hash. And they will only make for like a couple of weeks ahead of time. And for the rest, they would keep the crystals.
How hot would it get? Like,
I don't know, pretty hot on your hand. I didn't really have a thermometer to test it.
like channeling Richard Feynman. Anybody who's ever hit a piece of metal with a ball-peen hammer knows that when you hit something, it heats up.
Yes.
Causing the jiggling of the atoms.
Yeah. And the crystal, because each trichome crystal is surrounded by a very thin layer of cellulose, and that breaks open. That's also what breaks open nowadays when people use BHO or whatever. And because that little cellulose layer is missing when they're making extracts and all these things, they're good for dabbing. The thing is, if you make hash the traditional way, those little layers of cellulose will still be around the crystal, and if you do try and dab it, it'll leave a lot of residue.
Wow. You guys, listen to this. This is like straight from the source. This is one of those shows where I can guarantee you I'm going to go back immediately and watch it. And like, I'm glad that we've got it recorded. I like to think of a hemp business or a cannabis business every show if I can. How about this? Has anybody invented imagine like that setup that you described, except it involves robots like 3 robots taking turns hitting it.
And I'll tell you something, it was me actually that invented the first machine to separate the crystals from the rest of the green plant matter.
The pollinator.
Yeah.
It's pollinator.nl is in Netherlands, Holland.
And that's eventually why I became known as the Hash Queen, because that led, and later I started sewing bags on my sewing machine, which later became very famous and got copied by many people. And then I started using the washing machine, and the washing machine is actually the perfect tool because it's invented to get your dirty socks clean. So if you put icy cold water in there and any amount of plant matter that it can move around, the washing machine just does a professional job removing all those crystals. And they come in the runoff water and you can catch them in the bag, which has a screen at the bottom.
Wow. So the sacks that you made,
the bags.
You said, were they out of silk?
No, we used screens that we can buy here.
Has somebody made, hemp is, we all believe that it's a good replacement for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Is anybody making hemp
screen?
Hemp
It'd
screen.
be very difficult because the hemp is fibrous. So what you need, like with the material they make the screen with, it's either nylon or some similar material, so it's completely smooth, and that little hole in between the weaving is open and the crystal can go through. But with the hemp threads, there'd be tiny little...
We need to make hemp nylon. Hemp
Something
nylon
like that.
replacement.
Yeah.
I don't know. You already shot down my robot idea. I'm tapped out.
No, it might come. It might come, but I don't know nowadays there's many people that bother to make their hash like that.
I don't know. No. I'm not totally giving up on it yet. I did have to give up on our hemp maze, by the way.
Yeah. Why?
Because that will not be legal in the state of Kansas next year. Their regulations came out, and you can't grow it and have public access.
Oh, that's a shame.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Ben Dronkers made from Sensi
What I keep
Seeds.
telling you.
He made a hemp maze up in the north of Holland, and I was there, and it was great. It was just lovely. Yeah,
It is a dream that maybe can we do it in Colorado?
Yeah.
Like, we kind of need.
We have the lady right here that can connect.
I talked to
Do that.
Yeah.
I talked to the head of the program in Kansas, and she seems very willing to work with hemp businesses. They're going to get behind their hemp program, but the way that the law is written, a couple of things about it bother me. One is that you can only grow 80 acres per section.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And each section, if you grow 80 acres in 2 sections, you have to have 2 licenses.
Yes. Yes. And so much of what the law is kind of arbitrary, but this is, they see a chaos in their mind, and they're trying to create order, which ends up being more work for the farmer, but also more income for the state, because every 80 acres that they have a license for, that's more revenue for them.
It adds up.
Yeah.
It makes it, and their fees are high enough, unfortunately, that I think it makes it not worth trying to grow an acre. They're kind of by default, just due to pure farm economics, they're by default making people pretty much grow 10, 20 acres, which, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have advised them to do that. I would have done it a slightly different way, but we'll have to, throughout 2019, we'll have the discussion about the hemp maize with them, and
Sure.
but it's not going to happen in 2019, the laws. Bummer.
Maybe in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that would just be an amazing. I think we could get national coverage for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
Easy.
It was wonderful, the maze they had built. Yeah. You got completely lost.
But now you need to tell her how you want to plant it.
With a crop duster.
You want to
crop
plant
duster.
the seeds with a crop duster?
Yes.
Of course. I think that sounds just perfect for you.
Okay. I have no knowledge of it.
My CFO could fly it.
Yeah.
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 It's. I wish we could do it in Kansas next year, but I want to do it next. I mean, it'd be a lot easier to do it in Colorado anyway.
It would be. It would be. And I would love to see you. Actually, it would be very cool, because we would basically map out where we don't want the plants and lay maybe biodegradable hemp plastic down, and then you could put the seeds out, and then three months in, we would just roll it up and boom.
And you would do that to save the seeds.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also just push them over into the field.
Oh, that.
So it's
like it.
super dense, and then people can't get through.
The other idea I heard for how to do it would be to plant the whole thing, and then when it's young, like
Mow it.
Mow it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that might have been what they did up there.
Yeah. I had a whole plan together. Like, I honestly was sketching out the plan, because the
mazes are fascinating.
the deadline, or the time to submit your research proposals to the state of Kansas are coming up quickly. And so I put quite a bit of work into the plan for the hemp maize, and we're gonna have to do that here.
Yeah.
It would be so awesome.
Great
but
idea.
I mean, the research must continue, even if it's not in Kansas City.
Maybe we could even get the Department of Ag here in Colorado to utilize it as an educational platform.
Nice.
So I just went to the year-end recap, and they're so interested in working with farmers and educating farmers. And it was, it's 4 hours out of the office, which is a huge deal when you're an entrepreneur, but it was worth it to go.
Yeah.
Most certainly. So, yeah. So I would love to take the conversation back to Mila and say,
sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean,
Distract us.
Well, we're able to be distracted because Mila was a trailblazer across on the other side of the earth. And I just want to say that as someone I look up to and who's been a mentor to me, that you were able to take care of 4 children, making hash, making the pollinator, having a hemp hotel, and doing all the amazing things that you've done. And then to be able to we were having coffee this morning, and it's a very surreal moment to have coffee with Mila, because we're just sitting there talking, and I was like, there's so many good things. I know they're in the book too, but to hear them from your mouth was just a gift this morning. And the thing I love about the book is there are so many great photos, and Mila also has a movie about her life called Mila's Journey.
Mila's Journey.
Yeah.
How can people see that movie? This is a beautifully made book.
They can order the movie through pollinator.nl. and they can get the book. I think it's available on Amazon, Keppel, and as an ebook through my publisher. I'm not involved in that. And I'm going to be at the Emerald Cup next weekend, and I can come and get it there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Outstanding. So pollinator.nl. And I want to talk more about the pollinator. That's where I sidetracked us, was with the keef.
Yeah.
Because you tell us about the pollinator.
So when I returned after living 14 years in India and I came to Amsterdam, the city is filled with coffee shops that all sell weed. Now, I hadn't been confronted with weed for the first 24 years of smoking, so I didn't take to it, actually. And I didn't like the hash that they were having in the coffee shop so much. And I'd learned how to make it in the East. And we were growing a lot in those days because it was not really... people weren't trying to get you. The police wasn't looking for you or anything. So I grew a lot to support my 4 children. And so we had a lot of material. And we started making hash over a flat screen, and you kind of waffle the material, and if you're lucky, some crystals fall through the screen. And then one night I'm standing in front of my clothes dryer, the tumbler, and I'm looking at those clothes and I'm thinking, whoa, they're doing exactly what I'm doing by hand. So the next day we got a second-hand dryer and we ripped out the heating and we just put a screen around the drum and threw in a whole bunch of material and just sat and watched. And in 5 minutes there was a whole pile of crystals at the bottom. So that was the beginning of the pollinator.
What do you do with the buds after? What are they good for anything still? Juicing or?
We can, you could juice them, and probably you could still get enough out of them for making butter, which you can use for making edibles and things like that. But in Holland, I must say, people don't really use the buds because for the Dutch grower, the bud is why they're doing it. That's worth the money. Mm-hmm. And so they will only do it from the trim. Now, if you do it from the trim, don't put in the big leaves because in the first place, they'll crumble to dust very quick and you don't want any green stuff in your hash. And there's no crystals on them anyway, no trichomes. So...
just the sweet leaf and the trim.
Yeah. I must say, if you make a hash from buds, it is better.
Yeah.
The crystals that are on the small leaves are okay. And that's what you buy in Holland in the coffee shops now. But,
so they use the sugar leaves for their...
Yeah.
And I just want to say the pollinator is so famous. We had a dinner party for Mila about 5 years ago when the movie came out, and one of our friends brought his pollinator, which was a really old one, and it still worked, and he had been using it, and he asked Mila to sign his pollinator, and it was just the coolest thing to see that. So some young hash maker, American hash maker. Yeah,
a lot of hash makers are...
nice back screen.
Yeah,
so
it's pollinator.nl.
Yeah,
very cool. So Mila, you can see the green screen, and it's your website behind us on the screen.
Ah, okay, yes,
because
I recognize
someone's a wizard right here. Travis is a wizard with the computer.
Yeah.
I forgot our hats, by the way. Josh, would you mind getting our hat? Finding those other 2 hats? They're going to be up on a shelf there. Or in,
We sell pollinators in all different sizes. You can get one as small as that you can put 10 grams of material in. And we have one that you can put 12 pounds of material in and separate the crystals.
Nice. Mila, there's a hat for you when...
This one?
Yep, that one.
We'll turn the Airship back on. So as small as 10 grams.
Oh, nice.
Let me see.
New hat.
So whenever I find one of these now, I buy it. And I'm starting a little collection to bring to you.
Start to get a habit, don't you?
Yeah.
Like
I have a
they have them at truck stops
because I have a hemp coat.
Nice.
And it came with the coat.
Nice. Who made your hemp coat? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was Adam from...
Adam Dunn.
Yeah, he was in Amsterdam in those days. Yeah.
Hood lamb.
Yeah.
Very good. Wonderful.
It was in
coat.
his place that we, for the very first time, showed the pollinator in public. And it was Rob Clark who removed the black velvet. They had it very official.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Julie, do you feel left out?
I
without a
do.
hat?
I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
But I
I'll
have
be near you.
That's all right. I'll have hat
hair.
I have places to go. I'd be all
Your
square.
hair is always so pretty.
Oh, thank you. You know,
Absolutely. So pretty.
I had all those EKGs done this last year, and people didn't realize it, but I had huge bald spots all in my hair where that glue had just ripped my hair out.
Right.
Because I had an allergic reaction to it. I'd wear these things for like days, and my skin blistered. And where it, so I'm really conscious of when someone says your hair, I'm like, oh my
it's
gosh.
beautiful. So were you using any of your hemp lotions?
What I did was I grown, my own aloes. And
Right.
so I used aloe that I have grown, and I mixed CBD with it.
Nice.
And then would do scalp treatments in my hair.
Very cool.
And it
Looks
works.
gorgeous.
Well done.
Thank you. But yeah, I was frantic. I went to my hairdresser and like buying all the nioxin and stuff like that and putting it on all the bald spots. But the aloe and the CBD worked fine.
That's so cool. Simple is better.
Yeah.
Natural is better.
Right. And that's what I used for the blisters. Of course, these leaves are like this long and that thick. So I just filleted it and just put the leaves in because it was burning. It's just horrible.
Well, it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Trying to pull this up on Amazon. Tell you guys how to get this. I think the default position is go to pollinator.nl if you want to get a book. But I'm telling you, it's
And if you get it to pollinator.nl, I can sign it for you.
absolutely. That
Before we
sounds.
mail it to you. Yeah.
And then how long does it take to get it from Holland? Are they shipped from France?
No, if it comes from my company, it'll come from Holland and should take a week.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Week,
yeah.
10 days.
Maximum.
Yeah.
It should be there within a week.
Wow, that's
And
fantastic.
how long does it take to get a pollinator?
It should take about the same time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you make them as big enough for like industrial use?
Yeah, we have a workplace where we make the pollinators ourselves. Obviously, the washing machines we buy and the bags now.
Yeah, they have a very large industrial size.
Yeah,
So,
this is
show
where
that
we
now.
send all our machines.
Normally, I've been painting my fingernail green because I smashed it and it's all funky looking. So, let's see. And then this one's still messed up. So I have to figure out how to hold
There you
this in a
go.
way that won't make me feel self-conscious. But, so you've sent your pollinators to all these locations.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of pollinators.
Well, it's also interesting because some of the countries we've sent them to, it's totally illegal to grow. But the thing is that if we send pollinators there, there's somebody growing. Otherwise,
So
they wouldn't
many-
need my machines.
Yeah, so many in Japan.
Yeah.
And the laws
The
are...
States is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Very
And
interesting.
New Zealand.
Very interesting.
Oh, actually, this is Europe. Where is the States?
Right here.
Oh, that is...
You've sent them pretty much
yeah,
everywhere in
yeah.
the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. When did you start selling them?
I started the company when I was 50 in 94.
When she was 50. And you just had a birthday last week.
Yes, and I came to Denver and I was here on my birthday, my 74th birthday, and I was asked to come to the Cannabis Business Award ceremony, and I won the first prize,
Wonderful.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yay.
That I'm very sorry I forgot to bring, or I could have shown it to
It was
you.
very cool.
Yeah.
May I tell the story?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we had been sitting there all evening, and it was a long night because there are a lot of people doing amazing things in cannabis. And Chloe Villano was getting ready to announce the award, and she had gone out to smoke some hash. And
just at the wrong
I
moment.
knew that she was going to win. I could just feel it. And I was blowing her phone up, and she almost missed getting her award because she was out smoking hash. Like, it was the most palpitated moment. I was just like, it was great. And then you just walked
scooted
up
in,
right
yeah.
after. Like, they were like, "Where is Mila?" So it was the best. So. And many thanks to Chloe Villano
Yes.
and Cannabis Business
Oh,
Award.
she really did a wonderful job.
It was a
I
really nice
enjoyed
event.
it.
Yeah.
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 Well, I tell you what, I saw your book and then talked to Christie a little bit, and then I looked at your book again, and I'm like, if I don't have this woman on this show, I just had to have you on, because there's so many people, you've got so many fascinating stories to tell. Just, I wish I could have coffee with my Mila. Tell me about trekking through the Himalayas with your 4 children. And
when they were a bit older. Yeah, that was wonderful. We just get some horses and the tents, and the food is on the horses, and you walk. And it's walking in the Himalayas is just so amazing, because there's nobody else there, really. Once you're above the tree line, okay, we run into some nomads who've never seen white people before, and just fantastic. And with their yaks. And I think it's very good for them to have done that in their youth. Yeah.
Are they participating in this company now, or
My
in the
oldest son,
cannabis?
he works in the factory. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And your oldest son is 50. Yeah?
Just about.
So a multi-generational company. It is the coolest thing. Mila, you just seem so ageless to me. This morning when we were talking about your children, and that you have 4 and that your oldest is 50, it's just
54.
54.
Yes,
It's just
my oldest daughter.
it's astonishing to me. So
So that I can look after myself, and I can
Exactly.
go travel.
exactly.
Yeah.
When I picked Mila up from the airport, her bag from Europe, it also had a bunch of books in it. It probably weighed 85 pounds, and I was like, please let me lift that. And she was like, "Shh." And she threw it in the back of my truck in one sweep.
Well, that's
So-
the only way to do it.
That's for
Otherwise, it's going to
sure.
get stuck.
Get the momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't weigh more than, I don't know what that is in pounds, but the maximum it's allowed to weigh is 23 kilos.
Oh, really?
And I think it weighed 200 grams more when I looked, and I weighed it, but that was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a fell swooped.
Yeah.
So you have a busy interview day today. Where else are y'all going for an interview?
We are going, I think, I cannot remember the name of the other podcast, but it is, I think they're going to do it by the phone in the next couple days, because Mila's still in the States.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's this lovely fellow up in Boulder, Lex.
Okay.
And I think it's the greener side or greener good. I can't remember.
Well, I definitely want to cross promote.
Okay.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he does that, let me know, and we'll share it through our medias and cross, because that's
what it's all
the
about,
name of the
people.
game
That's the
for
only
me.
way that we're able to talk to each other is we keep.
Yeah.
Because the advertising through social media is so difficult. Facebook won't let us share posts.
Okay.
Even about hemp. So for the Hemp Biz Conference, if I want to do a promoted post, every day I go on and try and promote the posts.
Yeah.
$20, $100, and they won't take my money.
Right.
They'll just decline it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but every once in a while, if you do it every day, apparently they feel good every once in a while, and you can get a promoted post. It's the most beautiful thing.
Okay.
So it's like finding some hash. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So.
Yeah, so it's doing it organically is just, people don't understand, like, what was it, 2 months ago, there was the blackout where you would type in cannabis and it would only bring up 2 or 3 companies. It's not happening as much anymore.
No, they've lifted it, which is good.
Yeah, they've left it alone, but it's still important that we cross-promote as many times and as much as we possibly can. So,
Where are we at on this farm bill, America?
So
we get any action today?
I can jump in. Well, nothing new today. Jonathan Miller, who's an amazing lobbyist who works with the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, put out a 2-page fact sheet, and we're hoping that the farm bill gets signed any day now. However, the legislative season ends very soon for the Christmas break, so it's not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it might get bounced into the new year, but everything we're seeing in media says this year.
right.
So, and they did take out the food snap benefit, which was causing the most controversy, which really that social program should not have been in the health farm bill. It should have been in a social service bill.
Yeah.
And
That's
that
what
was
I felt too.
yeah. And that was the main thing that was dragging that bill behind.
Yeah.
So, every morning I go on and I look to see
Yeah.
if today's the day. Because it it will completely change what we're doing, and it completely open up so many new avenues for us to farm
Getting a bit hot
and manufacture. Yeah, it is getting a little hot. Create new products and then reach people that are who have never used hemp before, who've never had CBD.
It's quite hot.
Well, coming from a rural community, and working the way that I did in South Louisiana for,
Right.
redevelopment, I'm very aware of these subsidy programs that come for cotton, for sugarcane, for all of these things. And I'm sitting, my mind is just whirling. And the fact that SNAP was held up, if you look at the census, the poverty is in rural areas. Where is hemp going to grow? Rural areas. Absolutely. It's going to, there's a possibility here. This could be like the cotton gins in the South. Every few miles, there's a cotton gin. Right. Well, there's going to be every few miles, there's going to be a hemp processing.
I hope so.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
Amazing.
And there's going to be the jobs for the rural communities.
Yeah.
And the up and...
It's such a good point, and it's not quite sexy enough for people to really understand, but if there are gaps in the supply chain within the hemp industry, and if we do not have processing, there are no in-use consumer goods.
Products.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. And I've said over and over again, being from where I'm at and where I see a lot of oil refinery and in the plastics and stuff like that, if I was oil and gas, I would be terrified.
I think they are terrified.
I think they are terrified, and I kind of feel like with a lot of this slowdown, I feel the breath of oil and gas, and their slowdown, because it's going to ruin that. It's not just pharma.
Well, if they were smart, they'd get ahead of it and participate.
Yeah.
And
are they into solar energy here at all?
oh yes,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Wind.
yes,
energy.
wind.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, but with everything, there's a group who doesn't want, wind energy because the huge turbines kill the birds. But
Well, we have them, and it seems that it's not so bad.
what is it,
I
Colorado
think
Springs?
I think they do sounds
Oh,
that keep
interesting.
the birds away, I
They
think.
push them away.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Like
They're
hawk calling.
yeah, they're like 5 stories tall, and the turbines. I've seen them get shipped on the semi. There's one turbine arm per semi. That's how, to give you some scale.
Yeah.
But solar and wind, definitely.
That's how big they are compared to our dirigible.
Let's see. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think they
Completely.
need to be surrounding the coast, and just catching wind wherever they're
Yeah,
at.
yeah,
You know.
definitely, definitely.
They're putting them in the sea, in the front of the coast in Holland.
Are people using the pollinator for hemp now?
Yes, I have sold pollinators to people who are using hemp. Now want those trichromes to do with whatever they're thinking of
Make
doing.
CBD products?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Or 2
They're
years
also being,
next year, this year maybe CBG products.
They're also being
That would be
That would be a great way to get them too.
they're also being used now for people who want to make rosin, because if you make rosin for the complete plant, your end product is going to be dark of color. If you separate the trichromes before putting it in the rosin machine, your rosin will be blonde, translucent,
pretty.
golden. Yeah, there's a big difference.
So is it the-
So now I realize a lot of the big pollinators coming this way are probably getting used to make rosin. Yeah.
So is it the chlorophyll that's oxidizing when you heat it up, and that's
No,
what makes
that
the
just
rosin
makes
so
the-
dark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's oxidized or not, any green material, what's it called?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll that ends up among your crystals will turn it dark.
Okay.
Well, there will be a day when, quickly approaching, where big fields are planted with, hemp that has 20-something% cannabinoids, just and way less than 0.3% THC, and so.
Well, I hope they keep growing the other.
Oh, me
one
too.
also.
Trust me. But with the importance of our farm bill here, once it gets signed, is that it defines hemp as cannabis sativa L with less than 0.3% delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol by the dry weight, right? But that leaves all these other cannabinoids that could be helping people.
Right.
And fields could be grown, to selecting for varieties that have
I think they're doing research now also on which terpenes connect with which receptor and would be beneficial for which situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you keep collecting all the terpenes on your hemp. Yeah.
Hemp grows interesting terpenes too that are typically more expensive.
Okay.
You see in hemp terpene profiles, you see like a lot of osamine, which is
interesting.
That's an expensive. That's a terpene where like hemp appears to be the most logical place that you would get that particular terpene from. Let's see. I think is maybe Neuralidol. There are a couple that are like high dollar, rare type of terpenes that hemp just oddly seems to spike in.
This is an area I'd like to learn more. So it's there's so many terpenes and they occur in so many plants and they have so many different benefits that one of the products I use right now has linalool from lavender, and I cannot remember the other one, but they're getting it from grapefruit and then pairing it back with the CBD. Yes, delaminine from grapefruit. And it's just a very interesting pairing. And I feel like it's not too strong, but it is so strong that I can feel that and it pairs nicely. So I love it. It's, in the 80s we all looked to sommeliers to have this great conversation about wine and food, and now we look to people within our industry to have this great conversation about pairing plants with hemp and cannabis and for their medicinal benefits and also for their profiles. It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in terpenes. Terpenes and cannabinoids are really closely related. They all come from the same molecular ancestor called geranyl pyrophosphate. And so, I mean, these are, if they could figure out how to do it, they probably would have made black pepper illegal a long time ago. It has a high amount of beta caryophyllene in it, which to me, beta caryophyllene smells like, if you can imagine, like a clove and a black peppercorn, and what they have in common, to me, that's what beta caryophyllene smells like. And it works very well to help. It's just based on our experience and our own sales data, I can tell you that beta caryophyllene is something that the marketplace likes when it comes to transdermals.
Interesting.
Do you think it has something to do with it helps the absorption?
Yes, definitely.
Opens the wall.
Yeah.
Opens the wall.
Yeah.
I would say,
Where instead of like a capsaicin or something like that.
Or menthol in particular,
Right.
I believe is a terpene. And so it would, a typical transdermal like a icy hot has menthol in it, which is listed as a counter irritant, and then like methyl salicylate wintergreen oil as the pain reliever. And I think that these terpenes they're obviously functioning as counter irritants with the delivery. But and some of them are just from our own experience, having launched our lotions a year ago. They've separated out. We can tell what people.
Which ones?
Yeah. We sell 4 soothings for every 2 invigoratings for every 1 unscented, basically. And that's how it's just.
Yeah.
And so now we're planning on it.
I think the soothing is what I have. It's very nice. Is it the lavender?
Yes.
Yes. Linalool.
Yes.
Linalool is the primary, out of the terpenes that we put in it, linalool is that's the largest constituent.
And are you getting the terpenes whole, or are you getting them from essential oil?
They're just pure terpenes.
Okay.
It's not essential oils.
Okay.
It's, just the terpenes. And the profiles come from cannabis.
Okay.
Like if you just look at the terpene profile for Purple Kush and all of these indica type of strains, and just look at what they all have in common. They've overall, and I know that there's so much variation in this plant. It's infinite variation in this plant, but overall you start to see certain things pop out that kind of define it as, I don't know, I would call it indica, but our lotion would call it soothing. And the same thing for sativa. but the indica outsells the sativa 2-to-1
For
basically.
soothing, yeah.
It's
Over
lovely.
time.
Well, it addresses both problems. Like, I love the invigorating because I get fatigue muscles really bad. And that's what I use the invigorating for, is like that. But if I don't have my invigorating, the soothing works too. The soothing works for everything, you know. You don't have to really separate it, but that's what I like the invigorating for, is
Nice lift.
I would be would you, Josh, would you mind getting a couple of those stocking stuffers real quick? It just occurred to me that we for Christmas or for the holidays or for December have made 1 ounce lotions,
yeah.
1 ounce Amelia's, and we just got these put together.
Oh, nice.
So they're little stocking stuffers, and so if you want to try Amelia and don't want to make a big commitment, we have these all appear to be soothing, but we have invigorating as well. A little coupon code in there, and it's
It's a nice
That's
little
Looks very cute. Yeah.
yeah.
put in the stocking.
You know, we
So
gave
go to
away
Veedverks.com.
so many samples.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the samples
Oh, here's
with the
the
little jar,
invigorating.
and everybody says, I need something for my purse. I need something for my
nice.
purse.
Yeah.
So that's perfect travel
Yeah.
size.
Give your
That's
grandma
perfect
CBD for
surf,
Christmas.
you know,
Nice.
Stick it in your purse.
That
kind
will
of
make
thing.
her happy, definitely.
Yeah.
All
Now,
right,
I will
some
shout out
things.
the unscented. I like the unscented because you can make it whatever you want it to be. And there are so many people that are sensitive to,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can't have the lavenders or whatever.
Or rosemary.
Or rosemary's, yeah, it's another one.
We don't
I
have
can't
any rosemary.
but
Yeah.
you know, but if you have like, you know, we were talking about ylang ylang and cedarwood. I will put that in my unscented, and that's the perfect size. Shake it up, and then I have my own custom blend
Nice.
for what I want, but I still get my good CBD.
Nice.
You know.
Nice. And you're an experienced essential oil user, so
Yeah.
I think it goes to just say with some caution, be very careful if you're using essential oils because they are incredibly strong. So if you are taking the unscented and doing that,
Just 2 or 3 drops. I
Yeah.
mean, it depends. Well, if you're using a good
and then
quality.
shake it up to
Yeah.
emulsify it. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good. If you're going to do something like that, make sure that you're using a good, pure, you know, good quality, not something you're going to get at the dollar store. That's you know,
Those are
that you don't
those are
know what it
oils
is.
to like make scented candles with.
Yes.
If that's your thing.
Yes,
So-
yes.
And even then, you should be using the whole pure organic oils that you know the provenance of because that
My big thing is if it says you can't ingest it, you shouldn't use
right,
it.
not even in a candle.
yeah.
Not even in a candle.
Because you heat it up and then it goes into the air and then you breathe it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so Travis, I see that you have something written on your hand. Will you tell Mila about what that is and what it means?
So cannabis is a Schedule 1 drug.
Okay.
In order to be on Schedule 1, a drug must meet 3 criteria, one of which is that it must have no accepted medical use. But the U.S. government has a patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants. It's patent number 6630507. Google it. And there's a Facebook group, Talk to the 6630507 hand. You know, get smart, share with your friends. Let's keep educating people. It is impossible for any logical person to believe that a drug that must meet 3 criteria that doesn't meet one of those 3 criteria should be on Schedule 1. And hopefully this court case that with Alexis Bortel, Sebastian Cott, I hope that we're still streaming.
Oh no.
But I think it's still working.
Okay.
We're going to believe. Here, I'm going to do a little. We're going to hack that and see. I think we're still on.
Okay, great.
But Alexis or are we? As soon as I started talking about that court case, is that when it went off? But Alexis Bortel and her father Dean and Sebastian and Jagger Cott and Marvin Washington, former NFL player, and Jose Belen, veteran, strong veterans' rights supporter. And now, as of this morning, I heard Ricky Williams, another former NFL player, perhaps has joined this lawsuit. And so it's all going to come to a head.
Maybe by suing the government, we can get the rights back.
Yeah,
So-
don't make us start wearing yellow vests about this plant. We believe in it strongly.
Yep.
And we would.
Yeah. We would.
I hope you win.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to post links for how to get Mila's book and links to the pollinator.nl, which I'm very curious about hemp.
Yeah.
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 I mean, there's a business for you. Somebody in Kansas, go apply for your go do it. This is your year.
Right.
Go get a truck and put a pollinator in there and see what happens with hemp, and you might find out that
That might be an interesting business. I have not read the law. I don't know if that could be, but you could have a huge pollinator in the back of the truck and go from farm to farm.
Yeah, they'll do.
That's what they
that'll
had
be
in
okay.
Switzerland.
Is it?
But they had different. They were making alcohol out of it.
Oh.
So they went around with a truck, and everybody was growing hemp or marijuana, wanted it in there.
Oh, really?
Call them,
Interesting.
and they'd come over and drive over.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it. Mobile extraction.
I came up with the hemp business for this show.
What is
That's
it?
right.
So 1 for me and 85 for you.
Okay.
Hemp businesses that you've thought of on the show.
Yeah. Well, what is it though? I'm back.
I don't know. My business?
No. Oh, the hemp business, the traveling thing. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, that's fine. That's fine. No, because earlier you were like, oh.
I know.
Yeah. There's
There you
just
go.
so much
Traveling.
opportunity. Yeah. Actually, so I'm writing for Entrepreneur Magazine.
Really?
Yeah, for Green Entrepreneur, which is their cannabis subsection. My hemp plastic article got over 3,000 shares.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But the lowly hemp processing article is like 200. So 3,000 for the hemp plastic and 200 for the processing. So it goes back to that processing conversation. It's not sexy, but we desperately need it. So.
You know what's sexy is a whole lot of money, and Rockefeller made his money refining raw material and getting it out. There are all kinds of businesses to be made, and I know I always keep coming back to Kansas, but just trying. It's a new problem to solve, and also we fought for it in Kansas, like we paid for it.
Yep.
To fight that fight in Kansas, and but a mobile extractor is really the way to go, because if you can only grow that 80 acres per square mile per 640 acres,
keep the processing costs down by having the extraction company come to you. And then that makes a lot of sense. And it's easier to track the province of the hemp oil that way too, and they have more opportunities to sell it.
If you got a truck and a few $1,000s for your licensing fees and stuff, I mean, get on it, Kansas. Go build your industry. Go build your industry.
Again, I guess.
I don't know. I haven't read the law. Every law is so different from state to state. I mean, they're similar, but then in the minutia, in the small, there's
small letters.
They throw something else in.
In the small print, there's no hemp mazes.
This year.
We'll show you.
This year.
We'll do it this year in Colorado and show that nobody,
It'll be like what we have here for marijuana tourism. People coming to enjoy the plant in Colorado. We have hemp mazes and hemp educational opportunities. It's more tourist dollars again. So
And opportunities for, that's what really disappoints me about not being able to grow the maize there, is because I really wanted to get FFA and 4-H involved, because we need to teach these younger kids, hey, guess what? You could be a farmer in Kansas and make good money. And it could do that you could be a senior in high school right now, and this could last you through all of your 20s before we even begin to shake this out. It could be your future, and I get behind it.
A hemp billionaire.
There will be a hemp billionaire.
Yeah. And it won't be perhaps there'll be a hemp CBD billionaire for sure, but there's going to be a hemp plastic billionaire, a hemp textile billionaire, and a hemp biofuel billionaire, and fiber. So it'll happen.
Building materials.
Absolutely.
Building materials.
There was after Katrina, they took, it was so innovative, wheat, and it was under high pressure and heat, and they were able to compress it, just wheat stalks, and make a building material out of that insects wouldn't eat, had a low burn rate, great insulation. Why can't this be made out of hemp?
Absolutely.
So I'm always, you know, on the phone trying to get that inventor to even look
I think
at him.
in France they make hardboard with it.
Right.
So tell me, why can't this be hemp? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There. Eddie Van Halen, holla.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I feel like we've kept you. I'm starting to get nervous about your next podcast appearance. And since this went down, I don't know how long we've been on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's recording, right?
It's recording.
Okay.
Yep.
It's recording, and I think it's still streaming. I lost my browser. It gave me the off snap, which is, you know, never fun. But
But
I think we're
we
still
will
good.
send you the link
Excellent.
to it.
Great. So just to close it out, shall we just say the website one more time and we'll
Yes.
hold the book up?
So you can see Mila's movie, and you can
Order
purchase pollinator
machines,
machines, and you can also get her book, her amazing book, Mila, How I Became the Hash Queen, at pollinator.nl,
Yes.
which I believe I did get a link to that up before I
you did.
lost my browser. So it's thank you so much for
It's been an honor to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
it's days like this that make it, you know, worth building a giant green screen.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we built it for this.
Absolutely. And thank you both, Julie and Travis, for having us as well.
Oh yeah.
No
We
problem.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Tell us one more time about May 1st and 2nd.
May 1st and 2nd, Denver, Colorado, the Hemp Biz Conference.
Hemp Biz Conference.
We're creating a whole new conversation about industrial hemp with a focus on filling the gaps in the supply chain. So,
That's what I'm all about. Where there's a gap, there's a business.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And now we have farm subsidies coming, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This farm bill's going to be a big deal.
It is. Can you
I
imagine?
hope it
you
all
know,
works out. It's amazing. In Holland, it's just going downhill.
It's often a pendulum that swings
Yeah,
back and forth. So, but hopefully we learn from each other, right? Which is so important. So, well, thank you again.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next Tuesday, if not sooner. We doing something on Thursday?
we are doing something.
Oh,
on
we're doing
Thursday.
something on Thursday.
We have a special show that's just unique cannabis gifts.
Unique cannabis gifts.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I want Mitch McConnell's hemp pen that he used to sign
Nice.
the committee. Something, surely, is that commercially available yet? Everybody's got to have one of those.
I don't know.
Maybe that's his angle this whole time. He's like, I'm doing this because he started a hemp pen business.
Yeah.
Follow the money, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the McDonald pen.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thursday.
All right.
Great. Thank you.